Hello, and welcome to Backstage Buzz, where you get the inside story on upcoming events at the MAC. In a little while, I'll chat with Alex Wisniewski, star of Buffalo Theatre Ensemble's upcoming production of Andy Warhol's Tomato. Then Janie Sarther will share all about the exciting films included in this year's free Global Flick series. But first, I'm happy to welcome Kuhn to the show, who has more to tell us about an exclusive event that will help support our upcoming Andy Warhol exhibition. Welcome, Karen.
Thanks, Diana. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming. So, let's talk about this gala.
Yes.
It's pretty exciting.
It's super exciting. It's February 18th, 2023 at Esplanade Lakes in Downers Grove. And it's really all about celebrating Andy Warhol and the celebrity culture that surrounded him. And we're really looking forward to a fabulous, fabulous time.
And I'm super excited about our special guest, who we're going to keep a secret, but now we decided we're not going to keep a secret because
that's right.
People need to know.
Yes. Lisa McLaury, who is a famous Cher impersonator, will be with us. Putting on her show, The Beat Goes On. And I've watched some of her videos and seen her pictures, and I would have never known that wasn't Cher. So I think we're in for a real treat.
You know, when I was looking for someone and I found her, I saw the video of her talking like
Yes.
Cher. I was like, oh, she doesn't just sing like her, she looks like her, she talks like her, and she's performed at the Rosemont. She's really amazing.
Oh my gosh, she just from head to toe seems really amazing, and I think she'll really sparkle on stage. Those costumes are awesome.
And I think, you know, the fun part about Andy is, although he was an artist and he was a graphic artist and he was kind of quirky and he was kind of quiet, he loved to go to parties.
Yes.
He loved a party.
Oh my gosh. And we are, I think, designing a party that will honor him in so many different ways and will just be a lot of fun for folks. Whiskey Acres is putting together a signature cocktail. Andy loved Jack and Coke, so sort of a version of that. And we've got a ton of awesome auction prizes. So if you're intending to travel in 2023, there's lots of places you can go.
There's 2 trips to Palm Springs
Yep.
at one of the nicest resorts. One of them is where The Bachelor was filmed.
Yes.
That La Quinta. Correct. And the other one has amazing golf courses, and it's the largest resort. Then what else do we have?
We have a trip to Vail. To stay at an amazing resort really close to the slopes, or if you want to travel in the summertime, tons of summer activities in Vail to take part in. A trip to New Mexico, and I believe one to Florida.
And we just got one from an alum to the New York Park Hyatt, which is right in Midtown, which is where Andy Warhol actually lived.
That's right. I was trying not to advertise that one because that's the one I'm going for.
Oh, okay. Well, and that one, those rooms, again, some of these rooms for all of these go for over $1,000 a night,
Yeah.
and they were donated to help make this such a big success, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So Esplanade Lakes, what's cool about that room is it's a round room, and all glass, so it's really got a great vibe to it too.
Yeah, you're not feeling like you're in a typical ballroom.
Right.
And you know, you put together such an amazing look for this event, or at least we're hoping. But lots of sparkle and glam and very Studio 54-esque.
Yes.
So
with a disco ball.
With a disco ball.
That I'd like to note came from Karen's house.
Yes.
Can you explain how the disco ball got in your house?
Sure.
Was it in your house, hanging in your house?
It was not in my house. I got it as a gift for Christmas from my brother, who is in radio, and received it from somebody else, and he thought I could use it in my basement. And
that's kind of fun.
You know, it was super fun, but it just wasn't getting the use with our kids, and my husband was getting tired of the disco scene, so we thought we'd donate it for use at the gala, and maybe it'll make an appearance in the exhibit.
So for everybody who might not know, Karen runs the College of DuPage Foundation, which raises money for all the things that happen at the college: scholarships, the gala, the fuel pantry for students who are food insecure. What other things?
The Student Emergency Fund, and really most of the academic areas within the college, as well as WDCB and the MAC in general, New Phil. We take in funds for Buffalo Theatre Ensemble, so we're really here to serve the college community. And I like to look at it as we provide some extras that wouldn't normally happen. And then really from the student side, if there's an emergency happening with a student, if we can provide just at least a Band-Aid to get them some additional support so they stay in school.
So you were telling me that normally you would get one student emergency request every so often, and now you're getting several.
Yeah, really since the pandemic, we're just seeing this wave of student support needed. So students have lost homes with the sort of triple-demic that's happening. They've been sick, so maybe not necessarily COVID, but flu or RSV. So many of our students are also caregivers to whether children or an older adult. So there's been job loss and what have you. And so we've just seen 7 to 8 student emergency requests a week, which is very unusual. And, you know, looking from everything from assistance with rent to food to medical supplies, prescriptions, et cetera. So, you know, we help where we can and have provided that assistance really within 24 to 48 hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What you do is amazing.
Oh, thank you. We try
and we're
hard.
lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you.
I know it's a lot of balls to juggle. It's a lot.
Every day is different, which is what's awesome about what I get to do.
That's true.
So it's a privilege to serve the College of DuPage community and be able to help with so many different things. So it's really
And
fun.
Karen's truly the chief fundraiser for all things Warhol and helps us to get our sponsors, and this gala will help. And I'm sure some people are like, well, what's the money for? So although the art comes from Bank of America, every other aspect of this exhibition is being created from the ground up, from the vinyl adhesives you see on the wall and the decorations and the wallpaper and the big, huge images that we have to get rights to reproduce, which costs money, to the children's area exhibit, to the Studio 54 experience with all that lighting that needs to be created, much like this was all created by, this set was created by a lighting studio. A lot of it's made in-house by our designers, but all the pieces, all the parts, all the supplies, all have to be paid for. And this fundraiser helps to pay for everything in Studio 54, the kids area, Central Park. We're getting lampposts that are created by the real people who created the lampposts for Central Park. So this gala will help us to bring a little New York to DuPage County.
I like to look at it as it helps bring everything to life.
It does.
Right. So
Karen, thanks for coming on the show.
thank you for having me.
All right. So tickets for a night at Studio 54 for the Love of Warhol Gala can be purchased on the College of DuPage Foundation website or by calling 630-942-3088. On January 15th, Hot Club of Cowtown and special guest Tyler Hilton will be celebrating Elvis Presley's records from Sun Studios at the MAC. Get your tickets now. January 21st and 22nd, New Philharmonic will perform one of the best loved concertos of the 20th century, Korngold's Hollywood Concerto, along with additional selections. Buffalo Theatre Ensemble's production Andy Warhol's Tomato begins performances on February 2nd. Don't miss this fictional tale of an unlikely friendship that inspires the beginning of an American icon. Be sure to visit the CCMA for Edra Soto's Myth of Closure, El Mito del Cierre. This exhibit features a combination of architectural work and photographs that honor Soto's aging mother who suffers from Alzheimer's. It's a touching exhibition that you don't want to miss. For tickets and more information, visit atthemac.org, stop by the box office, or call 630-942-4000. I am happy to introduce Alex Wisniewski, who is one of the stars of February's VTE play Andy Warhol's Tomato. Welcome, Alex.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, I have to say, I think that part of the reason you got that part is because you played Andy Warhol for us for an event.
That
what
is,
was
yes.
the event? The first one, the tickets on sale? Or?
Yeah, I think the first event was...
Oh, it was his birthday, wasn't it?
Andy Warhol's birthday on August 6th of this year was my first event as Andy.
So you were in SpongeBob.
Yes.
And I saw you in SpongeBob, and I was talking to the theater department, and I said, I want an Andy Warhol impersonator. Do we have somebody? And what about the guy who played SpongeBob? And Kim was like, oh, he'd be perfect. and so I'm like, can we get a wig? Can we get that? And so you looked like when you came out, I'm like, he really looks like Andy.
Well, thank you.
That was a little freaky, like how well you look like him.
Yeah, it's so funny. We're the same height and relatively similar builds. And of course, when I was sent like the first picture of him that we would kind of be modeling the look off of, I was like, oh, I can definitely see those similarities.
And it's so wild because SpongeBob was such a bright,
Yes.
vibrant, happy guy, and then Andy is like quiet.
Yeah, very different people, I guess, if you could call them that, characters. But yeah, Andy was such a reserved guy, and in all of the interviews he does, he's so kind of sheltered, and he doesn't let a lot out. And SpongeBob was completely the opposite of that, so personable and wanting to be friends with everybody, and so out there. So it's been a fun little activity.
And now you got cast, and you're a student here at COD
Yes.
as the star of BTE's show, Andy Warhol's Tomato, which is an equity show. Now,
Yes.
are you going to turn equity because of that, or how does that work?
The way equity works like nowadays is I need to get a certain amount of credit.
Okay.
So I need to do a certain amount of equity shows in order to go equity. But for Tomato, for Andy Warhol's Tomato, I have the non-equity contract
Okay.
as a student actor, and of course I go here. So it just kind of worked out well that they were looking for a non-equity actor for this part. And I heard about the show, I think the first time right around Andy's birthday. So I've been doing research and
Good.
planning and reading the script ahead of time and doing as much research as I could.
So tell us about the character in the play, in the world of the play. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about this, like a little mini synopsis of it.
So this is Andy in a way that not many people know him. It's before the art really came into his life. The show is fictional in nature, but inspired by kind of the life and times of Andy. But it'll take place, we'll see a 19-year-old Andy over the course of a summer filling out an artist's portfolio for summer classes for college. And we'll see him develop a relationship with this bartender, Bones, as he helps him make a sign for his bar. And it really just dives into the relationship a little bit and figures out some of the dynamics of what life was like for Andy, especially in Pittsburgh as a young homosexual man in a time where that was much less than okay.
Well, you know, I was reading the Andy Warhol autobiography because of all the stuff we're doing for the exhibition, and reading, and I think one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people say Andy was gay and he didn't come out, this younger generation, this generation now of today, and I'm like, do you understand the world he lived in?
Yeah.
And in Pittsburgh they had the morality police that would go to bars or look around in the gay community to see if and there really wasn't a gay community, but you could go to jail for being gay. So that generation, and we're talking about the 60s and 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, is not that far away, where it was illegal, right? And they went through a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
If they were found or accused or all of that. So I think it's a good story to tell, right? So people understand what he went through and why he was very reserved about things like that.
Yeah, the script, while taking place, I think it takes place in 1949, is the year.
Before he went to New York.
Yeah, before he went to New York. So that's
As a
70
student.
years ago now. But the message of the story is still very timely, I think. There's a lot that still holds up in today's times, and a lot that I think people can take away from it and enjoy and kind of relate to in a lot of ways.
I think you also have a great privilege in that you're working with Steve Scott, who's
Yes.
a fabulous director.
Yes. We haven't started the rehearsal process yet, so I haven't really gotten to
Meet him?
To meet Steve Scott, but I'm really excited to. At auditions and callbacks, he was great, and it was really exciting to work with him. So I'm very happy to dig a little deeper into that and kind of get into the meat and potatoes of the whole process and getting into everything and meeting everybody.
So we were talking about the gala, and I think Andy Warhol may show up at the gala. Isn't that true?
I do believe that there might be
He's gonna be at the
an
party.
Andy Warhol appearance at the party, which is very exciting. I think he'll have a great time.
Andy Warhol is appearing in a lot of things, isn't he?
Yes.
He's gonna be all over.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun that we have you here. We have our own Andy Warhol that's starring in the show, that is a student here, which I love, and you're just so good at it. There's a writer who said Andy Warhol's greatest work of art was himself, that he was the greatest put-on artist, that the media was just dying to talk to him and get this nugget, and he would just say nothing, like, oh,
Yeah.
yes, really? I don't know. But they were just enamored with him, right? Everybody wanted to get him to say something profound, and he wouldn't. And this one critic said, Andy was the great put-on artist. He would put on this persona of totally confused and quiet, and yet he knew everybody. He knew everybody and had lots of friends and went to lots of parties. So it's kind of funny that he had that reputation, but I think in reality he was pretty talkative and normal.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so funny. He's for a long time was one of my favorite painters, and to have this experience of getting to be him and portray him at all of these events is so interesting, because the more and more I learn about him and watch him in interviews or read about him, he's just the strangest little guy, and it's so funny to have to try and emulate that, because it's not quite who I am, but that's the wonderful thing about being an actor and a performer, is you get to step into these unfamiliar places.
And you're awesome at it.
Well, thank you.
You're awesome. I can't wait to see the show. And thank you for everything you're doing to lead up to Warhol. It's been really fun. Thanks for coming on the show, Alex. And for you, be sure to watch Buffalo Theatre Ensemble's Andy Warhol's Tomato, starting February 2nd. For tickets or more information, visit atthemac.org. Hilobolus is turning 50. The innovative dance company is sure to wow MAC audiences when they bring their anniversary show, The Big 5-0, to the MAC on February 5th. World-famous comedy company, The Second City, takes shots at heartbreak and misconnections in their Valentine's weekend show at the MAC on February 11th. On February 19th, come join us for Jazz at Lincoln Center presents Songs We Love. This journey through 40 years of legendary jazz music will include the iconic music of Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, and more. For tickets and more information, visit atthemac.org, stop by the box office, or call 630-942-4000. Janie Sarther is here to give us more details about the international films coming to this year's Global Flick Series. Welcome, Janie.
Hi.
Hi, you don't even have a paper? You have them all memorized?
I hope so. We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. So first of all, Global Flicks is fabulous because it's free.
Very good aspect of Global Flicks. It's a lot of fun, a lot of world knowledge that you get to enter and understand what's going on in different places throughout the world. But yes, the free aspects makes it really easy for everyone to join in.
And it's on Wednesdays?
1:30 or 7:30.
So two opportunities to see the screening of the film, and the best part is after there's a talk.
We love to incorporate our faculty here at the college and our staff and even our students, as we have international students. So when we have someone from that country, we love to bring those voices in and a chance to engage and hear from them and know what their reality is and how it connects to the film.
So during the pandemic, we did them online, and I went to several of them, and I was so impressed with the conversation that not only the lecturer offered, but the rest of the audience and how everybody connected. And it's like going to see a movie with a bunch of friends, and then we're going to meet and talk about it after. It's like the best book club.
And it's not that you have to like it. Sometimes
Right.
you don't like it, and that conversation helps you understand, oh, that's the part I didn't get. Now I understand it better. Because often we miss things or we misunderstand things. So it is that chance to chat about what you think happened.
And so there's films from different countries, and it shows you a slice of life in that country, each one of these films. It gives you a little bit better understanding about what life is like there, or the problems or the issues, or how they love, how they laugh, how they share. They're just beautiful movies, and there's a lot of people that help pick these movies.
Well, every year I think, oh, we're done. We can't do any better. And it seems like every year there's amazing films out there that we just don't know about.
Right.
And it shocks me every time how they're on my Netflix. And I don't know how to find them on my Netflix because I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
And it is our faculty and our staff that provide suggestions and input, and we all gather together to kind of consider what films work best this year.
And we all negotiate and like campaign for our movies.
Yeah, as you know, every film would be a documentary if I did the only programming of it, but we only do one. But I always have that long list of documentaries to consider.
They're fun. Tell us some of the movies that we're going to see this time.
This year we have 2 films that are recent Oscar nominees, A Yak in the Classroom and Parallel Madres, Parallel Mothers. That was up for Penelope Cruz, who was up for Best Actress, as well as Best Original Score. We begin the series with a film that is a true story of an art theft. And I think we considered having it during Frida, and you're like, we're not talking about stealing art. But it's a true story about a gentleman who stole a painting called The Duke of Wellington, not because he wanted the painting, but he wanted the government to start funding the community and specifically the elders versus investing in art. Why are we spending all this money in art and we're not investing in our seniors? He'd actually gone to court already and to jail for 13 days for not paying his TV license. So there's also now more to this story beyond the movie, that maybe his son stole the painting, but he held on to it for 4 years. His wife never knew. And he kind of became the hero of the common man to try and change that storyline to say, what are we doing with art? Where is its value? And where are we placing the value in our community? How are we serving our community?
Interesting.
So he did go to jail. But what he went to jail for is not for stealing the painting, it's for the frame. The frame was what he went to jail for 13 days for this. So it's a true story about him and his wife and his kids.
And what country does this take place in?
Belgium.
Interesting. And I love the movie about the Ukrainian president.
This is
Vladimir
yours.
Zelensky.
Yes.
And you can now see the actual TV show that he starred in and understand, basically wrote and starred in the show. And people were like, he was a comedian. Well, he had a lot of political commentary in this, where he plays a teacher.
A servant of the people, yes. And I think this is really a great one where our faculty can come in and give us insight and understanding of the politics happening, as well as we have 7 students here at COD that are from Ukraine.
Exactly.
So we hope to incorporate them in a chance that everybody there can get to talk with them and they can share their stories.
But the show is really life imitates art, art imitates life, because he plays a teacher who has this outburst one day and the kids videotape him and he's talking about how messed up the politics are, and then the video goes viral and people are like, well, I'd vote for him, and the kids are like, my dad thought you were right, and the school's like, be quiet, you shouldn't be talking politics. And he actually becomes the president of Ukraine, and he really did become the president of Ukraine. And now with everything that's going on in the war, it's even more
relevant to our world.
And it's just so poignant. And hearing what they were fighting for then, even in the comedy show, is all relevant now.
And it's really how theater can present the world and help us understand the world through an easy path of comedy, but really talk to the heart of the matter of what's wrong with our world.
Exactly.
It's a great way that we have film and theater to bring to life our stories so we can get to know our culture.
All right. Are there any others that we missed?
Well, one of them is the documentary. You forgot
Oh
that
my
one.
gosh, let's talk about the documentary.
One Child Nation. And I actually saw this on PBS.
I'm sorry, say it again.
One Child Nation.
Okay.
And it is the filmmaker is a girl who grew up in in China, and comes and is living in the U.S. and has a child, and realizes having a child, what was that one child nation, that policy that she grew up in, what did that really mean? Because now she's in a place where she wants to have another child. And now she goes back to China to better understand this policy that recently ended and the impact.
For people who don't know the policy that Janie's talking about in China, there was a time where you were only allowed to have one child, and how that impacted families, right? Because if you found out that if it was a boy or a girl, did that impact so many things, and people hiding their second child, and it was tough. And then a lot of people wanted to have a boy to carry on the family name, but then they had a shortage of girls. I mean, it had such huge impact.
And so relevant to what is happening now in their country and culture. And she is pulling up her personal stories and learning about situations that her family went through that she was unaware of. It's a beautiful documentary of kind of the harsh truth and reality of this horrible policy for the country.
And they did get rid of it, didn't they?
They did. It ended.
It's over now.
Yes.
And what else?
Our
one more
last film
documentary?
is a film that came to us that we found online as a beautiful film called A Yak in the Classroom. And then I believe someone reached out to you and said they saw the most beautiful film ever and said, you need to bring this, and we have already picked it.
And Janie said, perfect, we already have it on the list.
Got it. We'll add it. So yeah, A Yak in the Classroom. I have not seen it. It is considered a beautiful film for the visual landscape of this country and this culture, but about a boy, a fictional story who has to go spend time in service to his country, and he's forced to go far away and be a teacher where the classroom has a yak that lives in the barn where he's teaching class. So.
Great variety of films, Janie. You do a great job pulling it all together and getting the lecturers in, and it's always a wonderful way to spend an afternoon or evening. They are free, they're at the MAC, and there's talks afterwards, and they're during February and March. So think about February and March to come over to the MAC on a Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening when it's cold and there's nothing to do and you're starting to feel lonely and bored. And
we have hot popcorn, we have our concessions. Come have some fun.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming on to talk about this. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you at the theater and next time on Backstage Buzz.